Well, Geoffrey, Dr. Bawumia yesterday launched the NPP's manifesto for the 2024 election. I'll give you the general report as the graphic put it, and then we can look at the various things that were said, the policy initiatives, and of course the promises that were made. Daily Graphic has the story, and it says Bawumia means business, unveils manifesto focusing on jobs, businesses. The New Patriotic Party, NPP, yesterday unveiled its manifesto that outlines the party's plans and vision for the next 4 years on every sector, and appealed to the Ghanaian public to keep faith with the party and entrust the presidency to its flag bearer, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, to steer the country and to transform the Ghanaian economy. In a presentation that lasted about 2 hours, Dr. Bawumia unveiled the details of the manifesto document christened Selfless Leadership, Bold Solution for Jobs and Businesses, and declared at the end that Bawumia means business. Quote, "In all humility, I ask you to give me the opportunity to become one of the most impactful presidents in Ghana's history." He appealed to the electorate, saying the manifesto is of hope, anchored on both bold solutions to usher in the golden age of good governance and accountability, a manifesto of possibilities focusing on quantum leap in jobs and prosperity, end quote. Dr. Bawumia said the party's positive mindset is built on a track record of innovations and achievements, unlike their opponents who believe no innovation is possible. Right, so that's a general introduction to that manifesto launch, and of course Dr. Bawumia speaking there. But if you go online, ChannelOne News, we've captured the various policies as presented by Dr. Bawumia in different news items, and so you get them. Geoffrey, I'll start off with you for your general observation. Listening to Dr. Bawumia, what struck you?
I want to take the whole event. I mean, if I looked at the outlay of the event grounds, I mean, it was an excellent arrangement. People comported themselves, you know, and I would rate them about 75%. Good at events, you know. I had a little problem with who they chose to be the MC. He's very good with political discussions, very outspoken, public speaker. But in public speaking, everybody has their role. Check it out well with even journalists. Some of them, you know, field guys are good, and then there are those who sit in studio and host the events and programs, and like we are doing now. All rounders like you, is not common to find them. You know, so if you could understand me very well what I'm saying. I'm saying if there was a Kojo Pon Nkrumah in the room, I don't know why they didn't use their topmost player.
You see, I'll depart from this.
There's always also to say that we cannot outlash one person. Okay, like we can't always be like, what if he's not there someday?
I get it, but I think that for a platform like this wouldn't have been a Kojo Nkrumah type of platform.
Why do you think so?
Because you see, this, although you're speaking to the top echelon of the party, within the auditorium, you're speaking to everyone else.
Yes.
And you need to energize the base of the party.
Right.
And I think Dennis Miracle Sabuaji gave a good account of himself yesterday.
So we have two platforms you are dealing with. There's a public platform like yesterday's own that could be a rally, and there could be an indoor event like this one. So the indoor event is a formal one, and I'm not saying Dennis is not good for a formal discussion. If you were doing like the same indoor event, if there was a part of a program that you have a discussion, like a platform discussion, you know, that will have 3 or 4 people to sit down, panel discussion, I'll put Dennis there. For the political panel discussion. Same place, same room, same time, I'll put Dennis there. But for the one that we are going to be doing the MCA, that is where I won't put him there.
You see, I still depart.
Have you noticed that you can host this program, but you can't be an MC? Somebody can host a program like this every day, all time.
Granted, but good. For yesterday's program, I think Dennis gave a good account of himself. I say this because, you see, like I'm saying, you need to energize the base.
Right.
And of course, whip enthusiasm, prepare people's minds for the message. Mind you, although it's a detailed document that will be presented, it is still a political platform.
It's not a problem. I'm just giving you just a humble view that if I had the chance, and I had him for myself, I would use him at a rally, okay, where I'm energizing the grounds and the base. But that event, even though it was organized by the party, it wasn't for the party base.
It was for the entire country.
That is it. So when you are doing it for the entire country, you use a multi-sector player who can stand in the middle. Like when you are doing Meet the Press, you use Kojo Nkrumah. The reason is that you are not there to energize your party base.
There is government communication.
But don't worry.
Here it is party.
But it is not party because this one you are doing, the launch of your manifesto, the manifesto is not for the party. But you see, there is for and from.
Yeah.
These two words is in question now. For the party is when it is a party rally you are doing just to energize your base.
But this is a manifesto launch
from the party.
But so, for Ghanaians,
not just for
party faithful.
So the for and from starts like this and goes like this. Yeah. So for this one, it was going. But I'm not saying he totally messed up. I'm just saying I would have preferred this player on this side. You know, so on that side,
I understand you, but that was my own observation.
And then the energy.
Well.
I saw energy in the event.
Also, ordinarily, it would have been a Lord Comey or an Anthony Cabo doing that.
So if I got Anthony Cabo, I would have been safe driving. I would be safe driving. And you see, I know why. You see, you know him because of the intellectual, nice debates he's been doing. Don't be surprised. You go to the real grassroots, they might not know him like they would know Anthony Cabo. Yeah. I'm just not comparing him. I'm just saying how,
I get it.
You know, on the platform that we were doing that thing yesterday, so people can connect easily, who is he? And then they catch with him. Right. And then the people start listening to people when they like them. Yeah. One funny thing about life, and in the Ghanaian society, we do worse about it. We are very attentive when it's some men's. Yeah. When it's Jeffrey Ocansey, start talking, way of him.
Who's this guy?
You know, but when it's some men's, like, Papa, we know. So the face is already there, you know. So, and the energy levels were high yesterday. I loved it. That's the beauty of our democracy. The echelon still keeps going up and up again. And then I'll take the VIP candidate, Napo. I think he actually did good because of the pressure out there. People, you know, saying several things in the space. Yesterday, he did a good improvement of himself, and I saw him lighten up. You know, the only thing I had a little bit about him when he went back to talk about 2011, the president mentioning he had with the president. You know, you will be putting your father in a position where he already selected the children he wanted to be kings already.
But we don't know the third.
You remember the case of Joseph? Yes. Yeah, so it is.
So it is. He mentioned 3. Yes. He said 3.
But the 2 are already there.
We don't know who the third is.
So, but 2 are already there. Yes. And the third could be only one person. So you are even helping my case.
I'm not sure who the third is.
I'm saying mathematically, you are even helping my case. You said there are 3. You didn't say 1 was mentioned. 2 were mentioned. So is there only left to 1 person? How many people are left out there who will feel bad? If there were even 5 people. So if you take one of them, 4 people will feel bad. Unfortunately, because you mentioned you didn't even mention the 1 out of the 5, you have left all 5 feeling bad.
But that 1 could be anyone at all.
Yeah, that's it. And the reason why everybody at all can also be feeling bad, unfortunately. So, you know, you could avoid those ones. That is why Daddy called you into the back room. Say, oh, yeah, Klapa. Don't go and say it. It is pep talking. Yeah. It started olden days. God will call Abraham and talk to him alone. David and talk to him alone. And some they will come and tell the people it's true. But this one is a bit, you know, technical. But then the loyalty, he also in his speech spoke, and I could feel loyalty in his language. That he's been loyal to his father. You know, it's important to connect to where you are getting the bread from. You know, you should go all out and do that. Now let's go to Dr. Bawumia. It was a good presentation. For him, usually I don't want to clap for him when the oratory goes right. He's good. I mean, he's good with oratory. He's done it over the years. This is somebody who actually came in with the energy. You can't take it away from him. He actually, and then the rise to fame was, you know, the court case. You and I were not there. You cannot forget him for that. You know, I mean, the gentleman is good with presentation. You can't take it away from him. What he presented, we need to actually look at it. The records are available to actually conjecture with what he said. If he said he built roads, go and check the records. If he said he built schools, go and check the records. If he said the results were good, like Napo mentioned about the results being good and everything else, 3 top students from Ghana, the records are there to file the comparison and see which one is good. I thought there's enough to assess, but on the lookout, looking at this picture in the graphic over here, just look, this is Ghana. I mean, it is beautiful. I have friends in Kenya, I have friends in Nigeria. They monitored. Some of them called me like, Charlie, your country, your standards are high.
Yeah.
And it makes me feel good.
Yeah.
I think we should follow it out too from what he said. Some of the things he talked about, the economy, talked about the education, he talked about health. All these things he talked about.
Yeah.
You know, there was a short video they showed in the beginning to show how he engaged with the people.
Yeah.
And for me, as a development communicator, I also looked at it like, look, the participatory approach of getting from the people what they need and then ensuring that you deliver for them what they want. I think we, the CSO space and the media, we should also hold them into some workshops and conferences now and ensure that whilst they are going out on the routes, they come to us on a face-to-face too. So I think it was a good delivery.
Right. So on the economy, he spoke about sustaining and expanding a rebounding economy. And then he spoke about the creation of jobs. So let's look at some of the issues that he raised. Dr. Bawumia says he will further accelerate the growth and expansion of the economy over the next 4 years. According to him, the current government increased the size of the economy by $20 billion since 2016, from 56 billion to 76 billion US dollars by end of December 2023. This, he says, he will further accelerate. Now, he also wants to achieve and sustain an average 6% growth by expanding agriculture, mining, the 1D, 1F, emerging industries, digital hub and services, sports, tourism, and creative arts. Then he goes ahead to speak about increasing public-private partnerships as an important funding model for delivering public infrastructure projects. He seeks to establish an independent Fiscal Responsibility Council to oversee fiscal policy and amend the Fiscal Responsibility Act to add a new fiscal rule that requires that expenditure in any year does not exceed 105% of the previous year's tax revenue. These are some of the things he says when given the mandate he will do to expand and to sustain the economy. Now, if you look at the practicality of this and the existing circumstances that we find ourselves in, he says it is possible. Is it really?
It is indeed possible. You see, when I speak with people, they sometimes ask me, where do you get this hope from? Even this current administration, from this moment that I'm speaking with you as my brother sitting here, I can tell you, September, October, November, that quarter, the last, you know, jumping this third quarter into a fourth quarter, the combination of these 3 months I've mentioned, if we put our hands to the wheel and start doing some of the things he's talking about, we'll be setting the stage for a takeoff again. You know, so economic management is like several air bases you have, and you must be airborne. So you must fly into space, attacking the education sector, going in for the health sector, matching it, but just connecting them and how it works. Some of the sectors can easily marry and work together. Look, what he has said to expand the economy, that's actually the tax base automatically. While we are doing that, the economy expansion, let's know, he's mentioning figures. That's where sometimes I caution people. 20 billion, 60 billion. 60 billion for which sector? So if it's the oil sector booming, you are actually talking about an economy corner where how many Ghanaians are there? And how does it affect us? If all the crude you are getting would leave your country and not go into toll, then you have a problem. So one step is when it is going to people who came to invest and they have made their profit. So they make, let's say, 5 billion and 4.6 billion is leaving your country. That's their profit. Okay? And then you don't get much of it staying here. But 5 billion worth of crude. 4 billion goes into toll. They turn it. The value chain, you know, more like employs people right from the time you are actually drilling the crude. Gas out of it is on a value chain. You get this one, bitumen is produced from
the service providers as well.
Ooh, the thing spreads up here. So it is only not about 5 billion, but it's 5 billion that's come to start generating jobs and more income. That is the turnaround. But if you look at GDP, okay, and they look at it and say, oh, GDP has shot up 20 billion. If that is where you end it, then you'll be getting it very wrong. So how does it touch everybody? So expand it to touch all, you know, Ghanaians in our economic activities, majority of us, but not to expand in just figures. Then the next one is the PPP.
Yeah.
The PPP, we should be very careful about it. It's a good initiative, government to do business with, you know, what I would say, like a mother doing business with their children.
Yeah.
Your mother sold kenke, took you through school. When you are done, you move from Dansuma where you are living with mommy and go to Tema and start also producing kenke. They eat and say, oh, that woman's kenke. Oh yeah, that's why it is nice like the mother's own. Yeah. That is when the family business is growing. It is not automatically necessary. There are arrangements where the child can come and take over the Dansuma one and also expand. That's also good. Yeah. But PPP shouldn't be a takeover where it is only when the child comes to take over the Dansuma one that we will see expansion. No, the child can also go and spread out there, get another one, yes, and then expand so that we can know that Kenke
franchise the business.
Franchise.
But you see, we have a history of government engaging in activities that crowd out the private sector. So perhaps that is where the challenge is.
You
and
see,
that is what he...
I don't believe so. If government...
You don't think that government should be able to scale down its engagement within certain sectors so that the private sector can spread?
Business doing business.
True, granted. That is the level of engagement in some of these activities.
You see, that is why I spoke about the mother and the child. You know, let me get so local. I'm saying Kenke again. Daiseno, onfa bako krama ne ba onfa could be a branch to another place. You can do another one. I say, well, let's say there are more lands. Yeah. If you're talking about Greek, state farms should have still been there.
Yeah.
For us to still have the private ones. And Ghana Food Distribution should take the products from both. OSA should be expanded by now. Why? Passengers are everywhere. You know, people are getting late to work because of what? Unavailable buses. So you see, the competition can be well managed. Look, it could be very small thinking to think that the competition is not good. Competition can be very healthy. Such that look at the customer base out there. Yeah. So if it's rice production, produce so much from government and the private person so that we can satisfy our market and then take some outside. So when the custom officials were complaining that there were no goods at the port, I was like, what are they talking about? We can flood our ports also when we are producing to the highest level and exporting them, my brother. And then the final one I will look at is actually the issue of that independent fiscal responsibility, you know. It's one of the things that we started from the CSO about 3-4 years ago. And I know the connect between Dr. Bawumia's intellect and the strength over there would have some connection with the Deputy Minister of Finance right now. This is one of his passionate calls, Dr. Alex Ampabe. This is one of his, one of Alex's top.
Well, he's a tax person. So
I mean, and he was my colleague, so I mean, on this very platform, we've actually spoken about it on Tax Dialogue, wonderfully with CTTV then, you know, wonderful. So it's a very good call, but they should look at the areas of exemptions around this thing, you know, what responsible exemptions granting, you grant to the people and ensure that we get value for returns, you know, avoid bias.
He did speak about that as well and said that he will offer a one-time tax amnesty to all Ghanaians and corporate entities through tax amnesty from the payment of taxes from the previous years, the waiving of interest and penalties for failures to file taxes in previous years. And he believes that this will enable everyone to start their tax journey afresh and wipe the slate clean for all taxpayers in Ghana. He also promised to reform the value-added tax regime by merging all levies into a single line item levy and treat the merged levy as part of input and output VAT to eliminate the cascading effect in the current regime. He will reduce withholding tax for small-scale gold exports to 1% to discourage smuggling. He's promised to abolish the betting tax, and he's promised to incentivize Ghanaian startups in selected strategic sectors with investment tax credits for the first 3 years of their operations.
With the issue of gold, so that it stops smuggling, the human behavior does not respond to that. The human behavior. All you need to do is actually get the monies through your taxes and use it to regulate and monitor it well. Human beings, some human beings are so selfish. You can't stop them by granting them, you know, anything. You don't. I see it more like
it may not entirely stop the act, but it may minimize the frequency at which it occurs.
There's no record in Ghana that has proved that one before. We've granted, and then let's go to the amnesty issue.
Yeah,
there is no record. And look, it is a very regressive approach. In all humility, I'm pleading with the current vice president.
Why do you say so?
Let me tell you what. Somebody owes 1 billion. Another person owes 10 million. Another person owes 5 million. If you grant them amnesty, how much did you give the 10 billion man? You gave him 10 billion. You give another person 10 million.
10 million.
You gave me 10 cities.
Yeah.
Is it fair? In figures, is it fair? I'm asking you.
No, in figures, it's not fair. But your
it ends with figures.
Ability to pay.
Senior, it ends with figures.
What of ability to pay?
Senior, you do business, and the muscle of your business is what we are talking about. Okay? If you even are talking about even percentage, that I'm giving 10% across board to everybody, even that, figures will still stand tall. Okay? So if I was giving you 10% amnesty on 10 billion, and I gave you 10% amnesty on 10 million, and I give somebody 10% amnesty on 100 cities, the figures will still stand higher, but it will be better off. You know why? The truth is that if you just give the 10 billion for free, it will be so huge against the government coffers, and it will also be so huge in regressive taxation. So let's be very mindful. Let's hasten slowly. Look at the records. In times that you granted amnesty, how much did you collect? Did it really work with granted amnesty over time? I would rather be looking at deferring payment.
Okay.
So I'll defer the payment over 5 years and then work a payment plan with you. And then you'll be paying without interest. I'll do that. And with some of them, I won't give them. Because these are huge amounts of money. So I can start with deferment in payment for the big, huge amounts of money for those companies who have the muscle. Why would I think about giving amnesty to a company that has the money and decided to squeeze it in? There are some big companies who are actually squeezing it in to expand, which is, you see, it's a dicey.
The whip on such companies instead of giving them amnesty.
You see, let's also be careful about cracking the whip, because some of them, they are not able to come forth because the law is not there to help them. If you had agreed with them that they would defer payment, then they clearly will tell you the truth, that they are hoarding the money to further expand. Somebody wants to keep the money to expand. So for that person, tell him. You know, so when it comes to the issue of exemptions, the same thing we are discussing here, I shift the same argument to exemptions. I don't believe in giving total exemptions to people. I rather think we should go by the two-way approach, where you actually will give the exemptions rather as a deferment. So I'll defer. You should be paying me for the next 3 years 1,000 Ghana cedis for taxes. So I defer in 3 years. So in 3 years, you won't pay me the 1,000 Ghana cedis.
Okay.
So when you add the other 1,000 you owe me to the second 1,000, it becomes 2,000. You have 2,000 cedis you are working with, which will make you profit. Yeah. But you won't pay interest on what you owe me. The third year, you have 3,000 cedis you owe me. You can use it to expand your business and make profits. Now, when you are paying me, you pay me 3,000 cedis, but without interest. So that's what I have sacrificed to you for you to expand your business and then pay. Now your business expanded, you pay me more company income tax, and then your business expanded, you take in more people and solve the problem of employment, which the vice president looks at solving. That is what my approach is. Because look, let me tell you what, in the ranges, the reason why I'll turn the table is that, look, when they talk about exemptions, you put exemptions in an area like real estate. How many people, you are in the industry, you are monitoring the grounds, how many Ghanaians go to the ministries right now who've worked there 30 years, 3 years, 4 years, 20 years? Ask them how many of them can buy a building even $10,000. The real estates who are giving the exemptions, go and look at their price list. Totally, what they are calling affordable is not affordable to Ghanaians. Wow. The automobile one they did during after COVID, right? Yeah. You remember 2020, the automobile one, the VW cars, the cars that were bought out there, 60,000 cedis. How many Ghanaians could afford 60,000 cedis after COVID? The mass that they wanted to make it affordable. Those who bought 3, 4, 5, you know, they are the people who had the muscle. So when you are doing some of these giveaways to stimulate the economy, to a such that it touches base with the very people, proper targeting. All governments have watched for some. I did a little study about 10 years running. And then my friend said, let's expand it to 15 years. When we quickly did that one, you realize good intervention initiatives, the mindset is good. Implementing it, then we get to the stage where we have problems. So this is a very nice thing to look about how to bring people on board. Defer it. If you want it, come forward. Let us give you that deferment. Then we get data of you to be put in the system. It's another smart way of getting everybody to come in and put themselves you know, the volunteer information and put themselves on the database and synchronize that with the Ghana cards you have to know age-wise who and who are supposed to be doing business. Yeah. Are they also coming in so I can measure? Because the data that exists right now states that 70% of the Ghanaians supposed to be paying taxes are in the informal sector. Meanwhile, about less than 20% of them are paying taxes. So if we just support this information, you realize, good mindset from the Vice President. I'm just cautioning that we've done some over the years. Let's track it and see. Did it really give us the results we wanted? Did we get value for money before we give some of these things out? Because if you, even having said this, it means some businesses will be sitting down to wait. If somebody owed taxes, I'll wait. Right. You know, it will affect revenue generation already. Because I'm actually going to sit back the money and wait, because next year we'll be giving that amnesty.
All right.